Blackbirds in the sky, look for reasons why. Mainly what I know isn't what I know. Once I come from fear, once I hold the fire, I'll be the first one down. I'll be the first one to overcome. While my birds are clouds, while my birds to overcome. While my birds are clouds, while my birds. Nothing in the trees, nothing I can see. Everything inside has its own memory. Would love to change the frame, would love to blame the rain. I am the weather now, watch me as I come down to overcome. While my birds are clouds, while my birds to overcome. While my birds are clouds, while my birds to overcome. While my birds are clouds, while my birds to overcome. While my birds are clouds, while my birds. 10,000 stars tonight, I look for reasons why. Mainly what I know isn't what I know.
And we are live. Good evening, Bitcoiners from the UK. It is Brian. Actually, it is UK Bitcoiner on this channel, but I am Brian, the UK Bitcoin Master, and I'm not going to give up until I get my channel back. So you may have noticed that I've asked some of the big hitters out there, Ivan on Tech and Heidi Blockchain Chick and Tone Vase and a few others, to retweet again. I'm still hoping I'm going to get my channel back, but you know, YouTube are not biting at the moment, so it is what it is. So for now, I am UK Bitcoiner. So if you want to get my attention in the chat, you need to type in UK Bitcoiner. Today is Monday the 1st of June 2020. As always, strong Bitcoin hand, people. That is the name of the game on this channel. Okay, so Rocky Palumbo is in the house with his spanner. Hope you're happy, Rocky. John Stramitis, Zaza, my lovely wife Elaine. Who else have we got? Buffy W, my daughter. I see Andy BTC earlier. Satoshi's in. That's all I can see at the moment. Welcome, people, to my channel. Thank you, as always, for your support. I greatly appreciate it. Anyone watching this in the future on catch up, take note down there. The disclaimer. I'm just some wily old git from the UK who wants to get on YouTube and ramble about Bitcoin. I'm not an expert. I don't understand technical analysis. I don't understand charts. You're not going to get any price predictions here. The idea is just to do a show around Bitcoin, get a community together, and just give people energy and positivity and inspiration that we're all on the right journey. Because sometimes we can challenge that, are we on the right journey? And that's quite relevant when I show the quote at the end, so hang around for the quote. I think you'll enjoy that one. So very quickly, I'll just pop up the websites. They should both be live now. Now I've uploaded or done one premiere and uploaded one, I believe, for the Bitcoin interviews. But the interviews that I did on the other channel, just in case it doesn't come back, I'll slowly either premiere or upload them to this channel. So now there's a couple on there. The Bitcoin interviews is working. So if you're watching this in the future, head over to bitcoininterviews.com and you'll be able to see all the interviews I've done with some of the greatest thought leaders in the Bitcoin space. ukbitcoinmaster.com is obviously now linked to this channel, so they should both be live. One more if I can. I've changed this on the say so and advice of a couple of people. Don't use the QR code that comes up. That's not going to come up anymore. If you go to tippin.me/@UKBitcoinMaster, if you want to drop me a lightning tip, you can do it there. The QR code is there. That's what we'll put up in future. At the end of the show, the notes below will have a link for a Bitcoin address for anyone that wants to drop a Bitcoin tip. But again, you don't need to. All I ask is just tweet this out. That would be superb. So that said, let's get into what's going on in the news. Whoops, wait a minute. I'm on the wrong one there. There we go. I think the first thing we'll do, if my technology will work, we'll have a quick look at the Bitcoin price, and you can clearly see that we're moving sideways. There's manipulation going on in the market. You can see that with the massive green candles, then the massive red candles. I guess whales are pushing it up, selling, buying back in lower when everyone, sells their coins. It makes no odds to me because I don't care about charts. I've got a low time preference. I'm in this for the long haul. Who did I just see? Barefoot Barry. Barry from New Zealand. Great to have you with us, my man, as always. Like I've said, people, can I ask you all, if you've got 4 or 5 Bitcoiner friends, tell them about my channel. And if everyone does that, and there's 6 or 7 of us in the house today, we could bring back 35 more, if that makes sense. And that's how we can get this channel noticed again when others have lost my UK Bitcoin Master channel for now. So nothing much going on with the price. For me personally, that was expected. I felt that after the halving, nothing much would go on and it would bob along sideways. And, maybe if it replicates 16, 17, next year is when the fireworks are going to all start to happen. I can see the chat going on there, so you're all chatting. If you want my attention, whatever you do, type in UK Bitcoiner first. It will light up in orange and I will see it. So I found a few articles. There's not there's not a massive amount, if I'm honest, going on out there. But of course, what is on everybody's tongue at the moment is this company called Goldman Sachs and what we were hoping for and what didn't happen. So I've got a couple of articles I want to touch on there. Let's have a look at the first one. Okay. It says Goldman Sachs lazy Bitcoin assessment embarrassing. So we were expecting, with this telephone call that was coming with Goldman Sachs and all of its clients, that maybe they were going to, talk about the fact that we've added, Bitcoin to the portfolio. You ought to be considering Bitcoin. Well, it was totally and utterly lame, wasn't it? My lovely wife says, hello from Lisa in Florida. Lisa, welcome if you're watching. Great to have you with us. Lisa's an old colleague of ours from years back, and we've connected with her in Florida, and we're talking to Lisa. And if Lisa finally comes on our channel at some point and has a chat with you all, she'll tell her story of how she lost so much Bitcoin with the likes of BitConnect. And there was one more, and I can't think right now. So hopefully I'm helping Lisa to build her strong hand and get back into owning Bitcoin, getting it off an exchange and doing nothing. And that's the hardest thing people struggle with, is doing nothing with their Bitcoin. And you don't need to do anything. So there you go. I've just seen that. Thank you, Elaine, for saying that. So this is what they said. Look, crypto community has been eagerly awaiting Goldman Sachs. Yeah, okay. It said Fed. Brilliant. Dollar, perfect. Inflation, not worried. Depression, economy has bottomed, no depression. Gold, bad. Bitcoin, bad and for criminals. What a predictable thing, but I didn't expect it. I actually expected them to maybe start jumping up and down on the Bitcoin bandwagon, talking to people about how they should maybe diversify and get a percentage or two in their portfolio. But they didn't. They come out with something pretty well as lame as this. Hold on. UK Bitcoin, she is on the show but can't find the chat button. It's one of my friend introductions. Wow. So Lisa, you're on the show with us. Pound the like button for Lisa, our friend out in Florida, who we are going to educate on the UK Bitcoiner show on how to have a strong Bitcoin hand and not play around with scams that run off with your money. There you go. Lisa, welcome. So there's another one from Goldman Sachs I want to bring up. And this says, Bitcoin rally shows traders don't care that Goldman hates their asset class. So, off the back of the other one. Now, forget the traders part, but what I picked up on as somebody that doesn't know a great deal about charts and technical analysis or anything is this chart here. Look at Bitcoin up 33% since the start of 2020. Look at Goldman Sachs, minus 12% since the start of 2020. So, who do you want to bet on, people? Who do you want to listen to, people? It is Bitcoin. That is it. And I just loved showing that. There's nothing I want to talk about. These articles, by the way, at the end of the show, within 5 minutes of the show ending, I go in and I update and put all the links in the show notes so that you can go and actually click on and read the full article. And most people actually don't. And there's a lot of good stuff in there. So, hang on, no, nothing else for me. Brilliant. So, it is worth checking out the notes section. Seriously, it's all down there, everything relevant to the show. Okay, Phil Volman, Pastor Phil, very kindly put me onto this publication, which is, oh crikey, it's just gone. What is it again? Wall Street on Parade. And I saw this, US debt crisis comes into view as Fed's balance sheet explodes past 7 trillion. And I thought it's worth a read of this. On May the 29th, 2019, the Federal Reserve's balance sheet stood at 3.9 trillion. As of this past Wednesday, the 27th of May, so obviously 4 days old, the Fed's balance sheet has skyrocketed to 7.145 trillion, an increase of 83% in just 1 year. People, how is that sustainable? Got Bitcoin. That is so crucial. Everything's backed by the dollar. They're printing it like it's going out of fashion. And if you thought the 2008 crisis was bad enough, yeah, they might push the can down the road, as BTC Benny says. They might push the can down the road a bit more. But something's going to go pop. I'm not an expert, but I just feel that something has to go pop. Because if it doesn't, they can't just keep printing money to infinity without hyperinflation, deflation, hyper-Bitcoinization, all these fancy words I don't really understand. But it's got to happen, hasn't it? So surely holding some Bitcoin is a hedge against what might happen and how bad that might be. Is all I'm saying. And this just highlights the sheer mess that they're in. 83% more injected in just a year. Flipping incredible. That is why I'm involved in Bitcoin. And this article, Deflation Not Inflation, will unleash the Bitcoin price. Again, it's for you to read, but the bullet points. COVID-19 pushed the stock market into panic, causing all assets to plummet, including gold and Bitcoin. We know that. March the 13th, I believe, it went down and people were fearing the worst. Not me. I don't know, maybe that's big-headed, but not me. I just knew it was going to bounce back, and I knew it would decouple from, the S&P 500 and the likes over time. Give it time, people. This is a small, new, evolving 11-year-old asset class. This is for 50, 100 years, for our descendants, etc., but surely over the next 3, 4, 5, 10 years, we could see dramatic movements in Bitcoin. It says the Federal Reserve is using every tool in its arsenal to prevent the economy from sinking, which is what I was just alluding to. The fear isn't inflation, it's deflation. If the Fed fails to turn the economy around, then Congress may give it unprecedented printing and spending powers, which you can't do. Something's got to give. Rocky, if you could moderate that for me, mate, please, that John's just posted. I haven't quite got all the settings right on this channel yet, so maybe certain words it's gonna block. I don't know. Elaine, Mrs. UK, DCA and hold. Absolutely, my honey. You keep dollar cost averaging, my darling. Love it. So where were we? Bitcoin's long-term fundamentals are stronger than ever. Combined with global macroeconomic trends, this is the ideal environment for Bitcoin to thrive, which is why we say buy and hold Bitcoin. Don't play around with scams. Don't put money into something where they promise you a high return, a high percentage return, because as I learned in my other business, MLM, if something looks too good to be true, it normally is. This is something where you just got to be mindful, because as this gains momentum, the scams are out there, but they will proliferate. I promise you. Let me just move on. What else did I come across? Okay, I saw this one, and for some of the OGs in the house, I've only been involved just 3 years and about 2 weeks. So some of the OGs might be familiar with this, but I saw it and thought it was worth a mention. It says an old trick could solve Bitcoin's privacy problem. An age-old issue that they go on and on about it. It says here, a Bitcoin developer just resurrected a dormant privacy protocol. Rocky, you might be familiar with this, that could be the silver bullet for Bitcoin's anonymity. I can never say that word. That issue. and it can be put into action without changing Bitcoin's source code. Chris Belcher, a UK-based developer with hundreds of commits across various Bitcoin projects like Electrum and Join Market, this week released an implementation proposal for CoinSwap, a 7-year-old privacy protocol he believes will massively improve Bitcoin privacy and fungibility. With CoinSwap transactions, though, it might look like a user sends funds from address A to address B. In reality, her coins end up in address Z or Z, as you say over the pond, which is entirely unconnected to either A or B, he wrote. And the article carries on. Now, again, I don't understand a lot of this. I've just got a massive passion around Bitcoin, but, it is worth putting out there, isn't it? If there is a way, to help our privacy. Now, run a full node, people. Sorry, I've got to say that. Mr. Palumbo's in the house. He helped me set up my full node. Run a full node. Run an Electrum wallet. Put your Trezor behind an Electrum wallet. Really improve your privacy and your security, and of course help the overall Bitcoin network to boot. So if you're a serious Bitcoiner, I really would encourage you to learn how to set up and run your own full node. I was fazed by it to start with, but it's such an easy, well, I'll say easy. Rocky was there supporting me all of the way, I got to say that. But I also watched the tutorial by BTC Sessions, or BTC Benny, and he did a fantastic tutorial on setting it up using my node, which I've done. And honestly, I just go in and check that it's all running and everything's okay, but it sits over in the corner of my office there. It purrs away. It's no bigger than a deck of cards, and it's just beautiful. I did have a separate internet connection installed into the house for the full node, so that doesn't interact with anything, the television, the internet for the family or anything. But I did do that. It's not a necessity, but I did do it because my upload speeds are pretty darn rubbish. So, I just thought this article was worth sharing with you all. Quick interlude. Don't run away, peeps. I know many of you have seen this millions of times before, but I do need to promote the show sponsors, justlearnbitcoin.com. I haven't seen Dan in the house for a while. I hope he's okay. I know he hasn't been very well, but if you're new to this or just getting your head around Bitcoin, do check out justlearnbitcoin.com. Whether you're looking for wallet setup and backup, long-term storage solutions, end-of-life planning, wallet sending coins to the wrong address, maybe being able to retrieve them, vanity addresses. It's all over there, peeps. Very, very briefly on some of the tabs. If you want to get some merch, I wear my Bitcoin bracelet. They got some great ones on btcbracelets.com, which is Dan's mate. There's a 25% discount for anyone that wants a BTC bracelet, as you can see there. They've got some great apparel over there, some swag, I believe they call it in the States, everything you could want, so check them out. What I really would like you all to do, on behalf of my dear friend Phil Volman, Pastor Phil, who's in the chat with us but can't comment or anything, is to consider heading over by going to the homepage, scrolling down, finding this black box and clicking it, and that will take you over to Phil's website that Rocky kindly put together, and on that website you can see that Phil was hacked or scammed out of 14.2 Bitcoin. So basically you've got all the people supporting that, including myself. There's a couple of videos there that explain how Phil was hacked when doing a firmware update on his Trezor, would you believe? If you click the tabs, you've got the family story, which is a really quick read. Phil was a pastor in a church for 16 years. Him and his family have brought up disadvantaged children. He was in the military in the Vietnam War, so he served his country. A really, really lovely gentleman that did not deserve this to happen to him. He was very well versed in Bitcoin and Trezor, and it was just, watch the videos. It was just an oversight on his part, and it was all gone. Phil's allowed Rocky to put up the transaction ID that scammed Phil out of his 14 Bitcoin, and all of the transactions that Phil had done to date to last year, building his Bitcoin stash up for his family on his demise, obviously. So please, if you can, click on any of the links. It will take you to Tallycoin. You know, we've had 27 donations in a little under a year, which I think we could easily double, treble or quadruple if everybody just made a bit of an effort. You know, it could be a bit of Litecoin you might have lying around, a bit of Bitcoin Rhodium that you got lying around, obviously a bit of Bitcoin, $5, $10, $20, $100, whatever you can manage. You can see the Bitcoin address over on the left-hand side here. So thank you, people. Let's get back. I found some interesting tweets I want to share with you. Whale Panda is a pretty big dude on Twitter. 3 weeks after the Bitcoin halving, the mempool is almost empty again. One sat transactions confirming. No mining death spiral. They all said there was going to be a mining death spiral and Bitcoin was going to die. Even though we lost nearly 50% of the hash rate, it's bouncing back. Next difficulty adjustment down less than 10%. Here's the bit I love. Bitcoin working like it was designed to. Nobody getting in and tampering with it. It just goes about its business, which is why I say on my channel, Bitcoin will do what it's going to do, when it's going to do it, without yours or my intervention. All we have to do is build our strong 20%er mentality, buy, get it off an exchange onto a Trezor, and then do nothing. They're the three things you need to do, and people seem to have a problem with doing nothing. And you don't have a problem with doing nothing. Bitcoin is not about trading, getting other people involved and making money off them. Bitcoin is about reaching out to some people, and if they don't want to listen, you dollar cost average and build your pot. Particularly when I've said, and I'll say it again, there was a study recently that said that if you hold 0.28 of a Bitcoin, so let's call it a third of a Bitcoin, you are in the top 1% of Bitcoiners in the world currently. That's how early we are in this, and that is why it is not too late right now to start dollar cost averaging every payday and putting a little bit into Bitcoin and just doing that like a savings plan over a sustained period of time. 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, depending on your age. My time preference is going to be different to somebody who's 40, obviously. So I've got on a different strategy. Yeah. So for me, I can't wait. No, that's wrong. I'm taking that back. The next goal for me is the 2024 halving. I'll then be 65. And then a year after that, if the pattern follows, and of course that's adjustable, 2025, could be the year that we realise our wealth and get out or do what we do. I don't know. I'm hoping we can buy stuff, houses, cars, or whatever it is people want in Bitcoin instead of going into trashy fiat currencies. So I'm hoping that the technology and the innovation in 4 or 5 years' time will have gone on massively, and hopefully we can just do what we need to do with our Bitcoin instead of dipping in and out of fiat. So Bitcoin's working like Satoshi Nakamoto set it up to work. Jason Yanowitz, Bitcoin isn't a hedge against inflation. It's a hedge against the entire system. Right now, that system is clearly failing. Short tweets, but profound tweets that if you don't get this now, that you need to be building your Bitcoin, I won't say portfolio, because a portfolio almost depicts some other crap coins as well. I mean, your Bitcoin pot, let's call it that. If you're not doing that, I think you're barking mad. No financial advice intended, just me on my show telling you you're nuts if you're not building up your Bitcoin with everything that's going on, and even more so now because of this pandemic that's now, you know, the brr machine. I can never do that. The brr machine's going like mad in America. Tyler Winklevoss, you know, that one of the Winklevi twins vying to be the first Bitcoin trillionaires, no less. So would you listen to this dude? The day after Goldman Sachs says don't buy Bitcoin, Bitcoin is up over $500. Now, this was on my birthday, May the 28th. So, you know, we are 4 days ago. But because I only do my shows twice a week, of course, some of the news, I pick up things that are maybe a few days old when I go live. But nevertheless, you know, so who listened to Goldman Sachs? Clearly not a lot of people. Not a lot of people. What else did I find? Stefan Levera. I've had Stefan on my live show as a guest. He's got an incredible podcast. He's down in Australia. And Stefan's live interview with me will go on to this platform at some point in the coming days or week or two. So look out for it, because Stefan's a good dude. He really is. And I need to get him and the other people I've had as live interviewees back on the show at some point and do some more live shows. But idiot media will tell you that Bitcoin is not a stable store of value. Then in the next breath, they'll conveniently ignore that fiat money loses value every year. Hear, hear, Stefan. Love that tweet. What else? Kevin Rook, Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust, this is an interesting one, bought 18,910 Bitcoins since the halving. Only 12,337 Bitcoins have been mined since the halving. So they're mopping it all up and some. Wall Street wants Bitcoin and they don't care what Goldman Sachs has to say. There's enough indicators, people, no financial advice. There is enough indicators to show you that the way to move your life forward is to buy and store Bitcoin offline on a cold storage device. The only one I can recommend and I would give advice on is a Trezor, because it's the only one I've used. I know there are plenty out there, but, you know, I love the Trezor, its interface, its ease of use. I'm familiar with it. I'm now even more familiar with what happened to Pastor Phil, so I'm vigilant whenever I plug the Trezor in, etc. So, you know, there are plenty of them out there. Get it off and exchange, because there will be another Mt. Gox at some point in the future. We just don't know who and we don't know when. But if your coins are stored on an exchange and that gets hacked or goes down, it is bye-bye Bitcoin for you. Keep that one in mind. And lastly, I thought I'd run this one. I hope it's running for you all, but it says, Bitcoin, it's alive! It is alive! It's a living, breathing protocol, a mathematical formula that's been ticking over without any intervention from anyone for 11 years. And I happen to believe it will continue over decades, centuries, I believe. I really do believe that. And I also believe that Bitcoin is our very best shot at sound money for the future. If you don't know what I mean, read or listen to The Bitcoin Standard by Saifedean Ammous. It is the most incredible read. I'm an Audible listener, so I like to listen. But it's 11 and a half hours of reading or listening for me. And I didn't go to school. I left school at 15 because I hated it. So I got no qualifications. So when my friends were in class, I was up on the roof being a little toe rag, as we call it in the UK, a little terror. So I didn't learn anything. So all of a sudden, I'm in Bitcoin, I'm in the rabbit hole, and I just want to know the history of money. And I read that book, and it was just totally mind-blowing. And how he talks about Bitcoin being the one potential shot at sound money for the future. Do you want to be part of the greatest wealth transfer in human history? Because that's what's taking place right now before our very eyes. But the challenge is, when you want it to do something and give you something, maybe more money for your family, it is like watching a snail move. It appears slow because it's going to take years, decades, and centuries to fully get where it's going, if that makes sense. So let's fight against things like the Federal Reserve and the bankers and the cabals and all those entities that want to manipulate us, manipulate the money to keep the 95% poor. Let's fight back. And Bitcoin is a great way to fight back without wars. It's a silent, quiet movement that you can all be part of. So, as always, you know me, I love quotes. That comes from my previous business. I found this quote. Look at the word down the left. What is focus? Follow one course until successful. How does that relate to Bitcoin? Let's remove the word successful and follow one course until Bitcoin does what it does or gives you what you want it to do. Stay focused, people. It is so easy to listen to what the mainstream media are saying. You know, CNBC, all these publications that want to doom and gloom and tell you Bitcoin's dead, etc. You don't want to listen to them. You want to follow channels like mine, channels like Bitcoin Meister or Proud Zionist Jew, BTC Sessions. Follow people on Twitter like Bitcoin Ascent, Rocky Palumbo, who's in the chat, Vortex, Ansel Lindner, people like Simon Dixon, who was a merchant, an investment banker. He's got his own channel on YouTube. The followers are going ballistic. He's doing some great stuff. He's a Brit as well. So follow the right people. Tune out the noise. Zoom out. Stop focusing on what you can get tomorrow. Take a zoom right out and you'll see Bitcoin couldn't be healthier. Is it going to go down? Are the governments and the fiat currencies going to go down without a fight? Of course they're not going to go down without a fight. This is a revolution, people, a quiet revolution. So you've got to understand that they're going to do everything they can to stop it, to ban it, to suppress it. All you've got to do is build your strong hand. Channels like mine will help you build that strong hand. And then let your Bitcoin accumulate and get on with life. You know why? Because life is going by so quickly and you do not want to wish it away, which is why I took back what I said about 2024. I don't want 2024 to come. It will come quick enough. Okay, I want to enjoy life with my family, enjoy the world that we live in, get on with life. Okay, so people, let me get me back up. Thank you for your support as always. I hope you enjoyed the show. Lisa, I hope you enjoyed my first live stream. Be a regular, like my daughter Buffy that's in the chat, like Rocky, Zaza, who else? John Stramitis, who's in, where are you? LA, John, I believe. We've got Barefoot Barry from New Zealand. So we've got a real global community here. But, people, before you sign off, I want to try and get my viewers back and my subs up on this channel because I've just got an overwhelming gut feeling that UK Bitcoin Master's not coming back. Now, am I gutted about that? I'm soul destroyed about it, because for me personally, over 2.5 years of doing live streams, to have them disappear is a total train wreck, and YouTube, they ought to be brought to task over it, because I'm not controversial on my channel. I try not to be. I don't have swearing on the channel, and I try to conform, if that's the right terminology, and yet out of the blue they take my channel down and I've got to do a backup one. So let's get behind this backup channel. Press the like button before you disappear. See if you can get some of your people you know to come over and check the channel out. Just like it, subscribe. Maybe they might start coming on some of the live shows and we can rebuild my audience. So that is it for now. I'm just going to put up my social media page as I end. Do go and follow me on one or two of them. I don't even know if this one will get taken down again. I don't know why they would take a small channel like mine down with the subs I've got, when, you know, there are people out there with 20, 30, 40, 50, 100,000 subscribers, and yet they decided they wanted to take mine down, and heaven knows why. So finally, if you're watching on YouTube, ultimately, once YouTube has processed this, the squares will come up that you can click on that will take you to my websites that I put up earlier. If you are listening to this on the Anchor.fm podcast platform, sorry you can't see any of the graphics. It is what it is. But wherever you're watching or listening, thanks for your support. I'm Brian, the UK Bitcoin Master. I'm still the UK Bitcoin Master, and I'm never going to get rid of that name, even though this says I'm a UK Bitcoiner. Cheers, everyone. I will be back on Thursday, 6 p.m. with my regular UK Bitcoiner live show. Do join me. Until then, have an amazing week, everyone, and I'll see you in 4 days' time. Cheers, everyone.